Okay, seems that my recording wasn't working. Isn't that lovely? So I'm going to review what I have done. So ultramarine blue all along the edge, came in with just my round brush, used the manganese in here, and just added a little bit more blue up in here. Really not too much of what I've done, a little bit of blue over here on this side, but not too much. And then I was starting on my mountains in the distance. I mixed a color of alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, and a little bit of sepia, and very, very lightly put in just a little bit of color. Laid down some color there. And that was the cadmium yellow for my aspens up there in the mountain top. Gotta have that. And we get a little bit in here, just adding a little bit of green, more of the kind of muddy looking color. It's not very good right now, but it will be great when it's all said and done. I was also mentioning that when I was looking at this photograph, I noticed that my line of trees is always, it's all static, or not static, but it's all varying, which is great. But really what's happening is it's much taller over on this side. So I am going to put in a taller tree back here so that it matches that concept. And I don't want it all to be the same color, so I'm going to put some yellow over here. Maybe a little bit of something over there. And you can use some sponging over there too again, which I just take my seafoam sponge brush, sponge around a little bit. And it's still pretty wet right there, so can't really do too much. So I'll set that to the side, get some more of this basic color going in here. Let's see, is there anything in here? I can't really do anything there. So I'll put a little bit of color there. Don't want it all to be the same color. Change that up a little bit. There we go. And then what I need to do is I need to come in and I need to get some of the greens in here. So I see like the mountainside here has a little bit of green, candy apple green. Now I'm going to use my Hooker's green with a little bit of brown, and I'll just go ahead and pop in some trees like this. And you see that other color is just running, and that's totally what I want. Then I'll take a little ultramarine blue and my lovely Hooker's green, and then I'll go around my trees here. So that way it's all different. A little more ultramarine blue, Hooker's green, gonna get dark in here. See how I'm changing the trees, making them taller and going into the yellow zone here. And then I can get more paint, more color. I'm leaving holes in there. Do you see all my holes? When I leave holes like that, then it gives you the illusion that other things going on. Okay. Changing it out, getting a little darker here in the foreground. Now this is pretty runny right there, so I'm not going to get the pointiness that I might want. I might have to go back in there. Leaving some white, always leaving that white for sparkle. Maybe getting a couple of darker trees there. So that gives you that feeling of variety. It's kind of a feeling that there's trees back there. Now, the ones that are back on the hillside here, those trees are going to have more blue in them. And I'm going to use the manganese blue and the green because they're very blued out and they are kind of watery. I don't have this color to be very dark. Now this is all one color. So I'm just going to lay the color down, get it in. And I'm not going to be so distinct about trying to get the feeling of trees like I did here because these are way far away. Just have a feeling of a few trees. And like I said, I just have one color going on, and that is my manganese and my sap green mix. So that's not very exciting. We got to change it up a little bit here. Maybe when I come on this side, I'll put some more of the sap green in. Keep changing what I'm doing. And thinking about, okay, if this is a canyon there, a little canyon, then it's got to come down like that. When I add a little bit more dark color, then it kind of changes it up just a little bit. So it makes it a little bit more interesting. I'm putting my fingers into my green here. I got to pay attention. And it's almost like there's an orange in there too. So I'm going to get a little bit more of an orangey kind of a hillside there. Aspen trees. Like a little cad yellow with a little bit of orange in there too. And I don't like that tree. There we go. A little more interesting. And I can do this with the tree too. I can take my credit card, even though there's no dark, it'll still help give it a little bit more interest, make it different, unique. There we go. Okay, just working my way around. That's just a soft Hooker's green. Again, Hooker's green is always my base, but then I add manganese or I add a little bit of ultramarine blue if I want to get it darker. And I just keep changing. And I'm just going to kind of paint down like this, just change that. see more blue. This again is my manganese. A little bit more manganese than a dot of Hooker's green. Put some of that color down here too. If you're going to have a color there, we just put it elsewhere. Put it over here, a little bit of there. Some down in here. There we go. That makes me happier. Pulling those colors together. Maybe there's a little bit of a bush or something over here. It'll make more sense when we take off that first stitch. I don't want you to spend a lot of time worrying about these mountains. Just kind of get an approximate idea of what's going on back there. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this. Just keep asking yourself, where are the valleys? Where are those? And just put those in. Okay, we're back on now. So just to rehearse what we're doing here, we're working with our manganese and our sap green, and we're adding a little bit of brown. As we recede back, the color gets duller, so I add more water and more of the blue. And I'm not so worried about trying to make the look of trees. I'm just more concerned about like getting some of these valleys in here. And down in here's a little bit darker maybe. Try to get these little valleys in here, and then I think you'll be a happy camper. Try to change up what you're seeing for colors. Put a little bit more yellow in there. I like having these little areas where there's yellow, little aspen trees, little happy aspen trees, huh? Would I make a good Bob Ross? Whoa, something's on there. There we go. Just keep it light as it goes back. Okay. Add all light down in there. There's like some shadows. There we go. There, I'm feeling good about that. Now really all I need to do is think about possibly lifting up all of this frisket. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. A little bit more there. Okay, I'm going to lift up my frisket. My painting needs to be dry. So I'm not going to work up here at all. I'm going to come down in here and get my frisket off. And I've got this rubber pickup tool. And initially you might not like what you see. Don't try to take your frisket up if you have wet paint to deal with. It's not a good thing. But see, this is what I told you was the most important part, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. If, let's just say, you are taking your frisket off and you went, oh boy, did I miss the mark on that? You're not done yet, because really what you can do is you can take your X-Acto knife and you can start to just use that. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Just come in here and then kind of go like that. In fact, I might even want to do it anyway. Get a little thinner because I got a little bit chunky right there. And get thinner and not quite so chunky. There we go. And the same is true of your painting down below. If you find you're too thick or something, you can paint over that area, and then you can come through with your X-Acto knife and clean that up. I really like it nice and light back there. That is actually terrific. And I got too high over here. I forgot to get that cleaned up and take that frisket off before I painted that area. So that's still an easy fix. And I really like how light this is in here. I definitely want to keep it nice and light and bright down there. Let's see, do I have it anywhere else? Well, I've got frisket up there, and it kind of don't have to deal with that too much. Not too wet there. Wet there. Frisket there. It's kind of nice to feel your way through with your hands to find the frisket. And Dollar Tree has this rubber pickup tool if you're into good deals, which is definitely what I like. Okay. So I'm going to address this right now. This area right in here is not so good for me. I want to come in and get, yeah, I'll just make it look like another tree or a bush or something in there. You can actually use it to your benefit. I'll just let that dry a little bit and see where it comes. What happens there? Maybe a little bit of orange. And that can be like a little bush or something there. But we'll just roll with it. Ended up having something weird over there too. Okay, so let's keep it light and bright. And if we look at the picture, these little leaves that are down here are all a nice soft yellow. So I'm using cad yellow. I've just been using it primarily. Dropping in a little cad yellow. Let's get those leaves in there first. The ones back on this back side aren't even, there's hardly any color on those at all. Block. I'm only using the yellow right now, but I'm going to get some, let's see, yellow ochre. That's what I want. I want a little yellow ochre. Just drop in a little yellow ochre in there too. Change it up. Hardly any though. You got to keep it really super light and bright. Okay, and in this area over here, I know that I want to keep most of it like white almost. I'll just go like this. I know it isn't that light on the picture, but I really like how that effect is. How nice and bright that is, because you can clearly see the light sources coming across here. Don't go into the tips too much. Just about like this. There we go. I don't want it white over here though. I just want like a lighter color. I definitely don't want it white. And why? That's because the light is coming across like this, boom, boom, boom. There's not a lot of light over here. The light's over here, all like right there. I'll fill in some of these areas, maybe with a little bit of color, a little bit of green. Some Frisket on there still. I felt it. I'm like, well, I gotta wait for that. You can then add in some greens and yellows in here. But this hillside too. See how when you have the darker values forward, then you can see that this mountain is in front and then this recedes and goes back. So lighter color, more water on your brush, and blues too. There we go. But I'm thinking that I'm pretty much done here. It's pretty much done. I'd love to see everybody's painting, so feel free to send me what you end up with. Looks like this might be a little bit yellow here. I'm going to scrub that out. Like my eye's going right there. I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit bright. Let's take that up a little bit. See how you can just do this? You can fix just about anything. There we go. My eye was just going right there. I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. There we go. There we go. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed painting this with me. And I hope that you have a marvelous, marvelous Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my Colorado Splendor paintings. Such a marvelous time. I hope you had a good time too on this adventure with me. We'll talk to you soon and we'll see you in December.